Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text 34. Indriyasyendriyasyardhe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayornavashamagachet tauhi yasya paripanthinau. So Krishna says here, Indriyasyardhe. Indriya means senses, or eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And then these are all Gnanendriya, knowledge acquiring senses. And then there is Karmendriya, our legs, hands, voice, and so on and so forth. So, and then there are Indriyasya Ardhe, the sense objects, like the smell, the form, the touch, the taste, the sound. So this Indriyasya Ardhe Ragadveshau Vyavasthitau. Raga means we have some attachment or attraction to certain Indriyardha. I like certain kinds of taste. I like certain kinds of sounds. I like certain kinds of forms. So like that, we like something and we also have dvesha. We don't like certain things. This is how this Indriya and Indriyardha work. Sometimes our tastes, we like something, we dislike something. So Indriyasyardhe ragadveshau vyavasthitau. There are raga and dvesha. But Krishna says here, tayor na vashamagachet. Don't come under their control. Why? Tauhi, then they will be paripanthinau. They will act as paripanthina means robbers or stumbling blocks. So Prabhupada nicely writes in the translation, action and repulsion for sense objects are felt by embodied beings, but one should not fall under the control of senses and sense objects because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So, for example, Prabhupada gives why it is stumbling block if you come under the influence of raga and dvesha. So let's take raga, for example, attachment for sense objects. So if you don't regulate it, what will happen? Prabhupada writes in the purport, for example, all other, except one's wife, all other women are considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have relations with other women. These propensities are to be curbed. Otherwise, they will be stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So a man is satisfied with one wife, but he still wants relations with others. This is the nature of our senses and sense objects. It could be in a wife to husband or husband to wife, desiring more, or even as simple as eating. We are satisfied with a good healthy meal, but if we still want to overeat or eat something which is not healthy, isn't it? Or we may have wealth, by Krishna's mercy we may be earning, but we are not satisfied with that. We want more. We want more than what we have. We want to take the position of somebody else and get more money. We want to defeat the competition and get more money. So what is not our quota, we try to aspire. Either somebody else's possession or somebody else's wife or whatever it is. This is called raga. The raga or lust will lead you to do this kind of things. This is the stumbling block on path of self-realization. One has to curb those aspects. Otherwise, tauhi asya paripantino, there will be stumbling blocks. So, what is dvesha then? Raga is fine. What is dvesha? Dvesha is, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, dvesha is towards sadhus who instruct detachment from senses. So anybody who says that, oh, sense gratification is bad, he'll become your enemy. That is why the sadhus or the bogus sadhus, they say, oh, you can do whatever you want. Just give me some money, some fee, and I'll give you some mantra, and you be happy. So they don't want to lose followers. It is the world of cheaters and the cheated. But a real sadhu will tell exactly what is in Shastra. Prabhupada was not willing to compromise. When he came to the West, one very learned gentleman and a lawyer, he became acquainted with Prabhupada, and he was advising, Swamiji, if you put all these rules that no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit relations, no gambling, nobody will come to you. And he would give examples of other spiritual gurus who came and who relaxed all these kind of things. And Prabhupada said, no, I have to give knowledge as it is. I'm representing the spiritual parampara. I have to stay true to the parampara. So the point is that a sadhu, true sadhu, gives exactly what is in the scripture, and people, they have hatred. So we should overcome such hatred also. We should not be bound by attachment to what is forbidden in scriptures, and we should overcome dvesha to genuine sadhus. The other interesting aspect Prabhupada mentions here is, somebody may say, yes, to overcome raga and dvesha, there is regulation in the scripture. For example, marriage. Just because you are so attracted to unlimited enjoyment with women, there is a regulation in the scripture. You be married. You limit your enjoyment to one woman or one husband in the marriage. So now one may say, yes, my raga and dvesha are controlled because of this. No, but Prabhupada mentions, he brings up this subtle aspect that even if you have regulated enjoyment, regulated dharmic life, as long as your heart is not cleansed, you will still come under its influence and commit abominable activities. The analogy Prabhupada gives is, say, you are traveling on a royal road instead of a road with potholes. Say, let's say you're going on a royal road that is considered like a regulated life. We're following the Vedic regulation, marriage and all of that. But still, there is possibility of getting robbed, or there is possibility of an accident on the royal road. That is called paripanthinau. As long as you're attached to sense gratification. The other example is, say one has diabetes and one is taking a regulated medicine for diabetes. One should not think that he is safe under all circumstances. Any moment our attachment for overeating or irregulated eating may come up, and that can cause damage. Anytime it can go wrong. So, yes, at least you should have a regulated life. But even in regulated life, you should not depend on that regulation. You should work on overcoming the core reason, which is your attachment to senses. So now what you can see carefully is there seems to be an apparent contradiction between the previous verse and this verse. So the previous verse, Krishna said, Sadrishim cheshtate swasyaha prakritir gnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. What he said is, every man or every human being has to act according to their nature. What can repression accomplish? But here Krishna says, you have to control, isn't it? Otherwise, there'll be stumbling blocks on self-realization, the path of self-realization. Tayor navasham agachet. So what is this? In one verse he's saying, you cannot repress. In the other verse he's saying, you have to control. So what we need to understand is, when Krishna says, you cannot repress, it means acting according to your occupational duty as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, or in modern terms, occupation of an intelligent man, a administrator, a businessman, or a labor class, worker class. So we all have nature to belong to one of these categories. You cannot repress yourself and stop from being one of these categories. You have to act like one. You have to take up some occupational duty. But what this verse says is, every occupational duty, you have to be regulated. You cannot have unrestricted enjoyment, having taken up that occupational duty. If I were to give an example, like everybody in this world is born, Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. When one is born, they are given a particular body with particular inclinations to be a Brahmana body, Kshatriya. Of course, that body can be changed by our practice. One's inclinations need not be one has to be a Sudra for life. One can, by practice, one can become a Brahmana. So, anyway, say we are given this body. Say one is given the body of a Ferrari car. One is given the body of a bicycle. One is given the body of a simple Maruti car or whatever. So everybody has got a different body. One has to accept that. But that car or vehicle has to be used for going to the destination. If one keeps the car at home and just keeps decorating it and keeps cleaning it and keeps servicing it over and over, but you are not going to the destination. What is the reason why you are given this car? You have to go to the destination. So give up that attachment to the car. So that is the point. Yes, you have to drive, all right. You're given a body. You're given either a Ferrari or a bicycle or Maruti, whatever. You cannot escape. That is what 33rd verse is saying. You have to drive according to your vehicle. But 34th verse, today's verse is saying, yes, you have a vehicle, but don't keep it at home and be attached to it. You will not reach the destination. So this raga, dvesha are like that. They will make us think that we are this body, and they will stop our progress to self-realization. So even when we take up Krishna consciousness, we should always be on guard with this raga and dvesha for sense objects. Sometimes people think, oh, I've never imagined that this man, he is a devotee, but still why he is acting like this? They think that the moment you start chanting and become a devotee, all your bad habits will go away. Because this process is it's like a medicine. It's like a deadly disease. It takes a long time for cure. Provided you are taking that medicine and the diet and the lifestyle that is prescribed by the doctor, as long as you are doing that, then the medicine will be effective. Otherwise, you cannot expect, even if you take the right medicine, it will take a very long time. Yes, chanting Hare Krishna, for example, say you are the Hare Krishna mantra is like the rain of mercy coming, and you have your ears are like the bowls. You hold the rain of mercy with your bowl. That means you attentively hear the holy name. But if your bowl, instead of keeping like this, if you keep it reverse like this, what will happen? The rain will fall and fall all around the bowl instead of going into the bowl. So when you chant, if you are not hearing, if it is not going like this, if the ears are blocked, that means you are thinking of something else. Then how will the holy name enter your existence? So hearing the holy name is very important. At the same time, there is another aspect. Even if you are hearing the holy name, why sometimes you don't make progress? So in one class, one devotee answered this very nicely. So they were asking, Prabhu, why sometimes you see devotees, their nature is so hardwired that they keep committing the same mistake again and again. They have a lot of deficiencies. Should we just accept and move on, that they will never change? And so this Prabhu who was giving the class, he said very nicely, actually they can change, but they have to desire to change. They have to use their free will and desire to change. If they don't desire to change, why will Krishna do any change? The holy name is reciprocating with our desires. When you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And your actual desire should be, my Lord, engage me in your service. That's what the mantra means. But if you are desiring something else, oh, let me get a good bank balance, let me get a good job, let me get a good spouse, whatever it is, the mantra is feeding that desire. Krishna is satisfying every living entity in this material existence, satisfying their desires. Somebody wants to be like a pig, eating everything. Krishna is satisfying their desire. Somebody wants to show off their body being naked. Krishna satisfies their desires. You be naked like a tree. Unlimitedly be naked. So like that, Krishna is satisfying everybody's desire. So you have to desire that, oh, I have this habit. I have to work towards it. And what am I doing to show to Krishna that I sincerely want to get rid of this bad habit? It's like you're trying to chant, but you're pouring water on trying to light the fire on the wood, but you're pouring water on the wood. So what is the use? So there has to be our endeavor as well. There has to be our desire, our endeavor, our effort, at the same time Krishna's mercy. Both has to be there. Then you will progress. So sometimes people they blame these sadhus. They say, there were several movies that also came. It says that, oh, these sadhus are not needed. the sadhus are all bogus people. Yes, while it is true that there are imposters, because people see they'll have these bad habits. Yes, while it is true that there are imposters, there are sincere people as well. So Krishna, he is actually saying, you go to a sadhu, don't come to me. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Don't go to Krishna directly, go through his devotee. But unfortunately, this Kali Yuga is so bad that because there are some imposters and bogus sadhus, people think everybody is like this. Unfortunately. That is why Ishopanishad warns that anybody who is posing as a guru and a sadhu, but who is teaching people something else and who is acting otherwise, they will have to face even bigger consequences than an ordinary person who is involved in sense gratification. But who is misguiding, he will have to face a bigger consequence. So, the other aspect of this verse is, yes, we have to be careful about raga and dvesha. We have to always make sure that we don't get influenced, swayed by sensual objects, attraction. And we discussed yesterday as well that that is possible only when you cultivate attachment to Krishna. Only when you cultivate attachment to Krishna, your attachment for Maya will decrease. And that attachment to Krishna has to be beyond your likes and dislikes. Sometimes you may not like something, but still you have to do it. And that is what helps you progress. So there was this story about one disciple of Ramanujacharya. So there was this very pious and humble Brahmana who approached Sri Ramanujacharya. Very sincerely he requested, I want to accept you as my guru. I want to stay with you and I want to serve you. I want to give my life to serving you and pleasing you. Please instruct me. So Ramanujacharya replied, yes, I will instruct you. But you have to do whatever I tell you without any question, whether you like it or not. And the Brahmana said, yes, I'll give you my word. I'll do whatever you tell me to do without questioning. So then Ramanujacharya became very happy and he said, see, according to scriptures, the greatest purification is to take the water that has washed the feet of a humble Brahmana. So my instruction to you is every day you wash your feet and you give me the water to drink and sprinkle on my head. And then this Brahmana was shocked. But this Brahmana was very simple and he was very adherent to the Guru's instructions. So, out of pure innocence and simplicity, he would wash his feet and he would deliver that water. And then one day, Ramanujacharya, he went to one of his Grihastha disciples' homes and he preached and immersed in Krishna Katha. And it became quite late at night. And he came back to ashram. And this Brahmana was still awake, even though it was very late in the night. And Ramanujacharya said, why are you still awake? Haven't you eaten your prasadam? And he said, no, I have not eaten all day. And you're waking up so late, why? And he said, because you haven't drunk the water that washed my feet yet. And I've been waiting for you all day. I cannot sleep or eat without fulfilling my service to you. And Ramanujacharya felt very blissful. And then after doing that, the Brahmana peacefully took prasadam and took rest. So Ramanujacharya, he was blessing him for doing something that he didn't like The Brahmana obviously didn't like to do that, but it was a great embarrassment to him, in fact. And you can even go to hell for doing such things. But he wasn't concerned with his likes and dislikes. He wasn't concerned with going to hell or heaven. He was only concerned with satisfying his guru. So, like that, one has to go above our likes and dislikes to please our spiritual master. Accept what Krishna has given us, or what spiritual master has given us. Sometimes the spiritual master may ask us very difficult service. You go to such and such country, African country, or a Muslim country, and preach. Like Prabhupada was sending everybody, and the devotees were obliging. And even in our script, in our history, we see, even though devotees were fully renounced, they accepted opulence purely because it was the order of Krishna. So, without being attached to our likes and dislikes, when we serve Krishna, that is the safest path to progress in Krishna consciousness. We'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.